Hey everyone, Dan Longman here, NFM Lending. And hey, we have the August numbers out, so we want to jump into the market report. But before we do that, I want to give a quick update on interest rates. So a lot of you probably know the Fed met this week to determine interest rates, and they ended up cutting short-term rates, the federal funds rate, by 0.25%. Now, when that happens, it sparks a lot of attention in the media. Consumers reach out. Does this mean mortgage rates have gone down? Now, look, there are correlation between short-term and long-term rates, but when the Fed does a direct cut like this, it's impacting short-term rates directly. So you're going to see it in credit cards, car loans, equity lines of credit. These things will usually mirror, especially equity lines, or at least come down immediately once the Fed does those cuts. Mortgage rates are a little tricky. Those cuts don't necessarily dictate mortgage rates. And the thing about the Fed, it's not so much them cutting, it's what they say afterwards that impacts mortgage rates. So mortgage rates have come down. People need to realize this. We started up around 7 and now we've been hovering, in the low 6% range. And that is because the market, the investors were anticipating this Fed cut. Matter of fact, they're anticipating 2 more. So the other 2 meetings that they have scheduled for this year, we are anticipating, and the market's anticipating, a quarter cut at both of those meetings. So that's 0.75 total. So I just want to tell folks out there, if you're waiting and saying, oh, I think mortgage rates are going to come down further because the Fed's going to cut, just know a lot of that is already baked in. So the big thing is what Jerome Powell says afterwards. Ever since the Fed cut this month, we've actually seen rates tick back up. Why is that? Well, Jerome Powell came out and he wasn't very dovish in his comments. He's kind of just kept this same tone of, well, yes, the job market is starting to weaken now, but we really need to keep our eye on inflation and we're just going to play it by ear. So he's kind of not giving investors that warm and fuzzy feeling that he's going to be aggressive with rates moving forward. And that's why we've seen interest rates tick up a little bit here. So my advice to you, if you're on the fence, get off the fence. Now's a good time to buy. Rates have come down. We don't know if this is just a pocket, if they'll stay here for a little bit, or they could start to go back up like we're already experiencing. With that being said, let's dive into the numbers and we'll make this quick. All right, starting off with Broward County. So Broward County, we actually had a reverse. This was negative last month, the median sales price. Now we're into positive territory compared to last year, up 3.1%. Month supply of inventory. I mentioned this last month. Pay attention. I think we've already peaked. We're now going down a little bit. So this was at 6 months last month. Now it's down to 5.7. That's big. I mean, this is actually probably good news for sellers and not so much buyers because you're starting to see inventory creep back down. Moving over to Dade County. Dade County median sales price also was a little negative last month. It's up compared to a year ago, 2.3%. And month supply of inventory in Dade County is down slightly as well. Even though it's higher than Broward, it's starting to trend down. Moving over to Palm Beach County, median sales price up as well. So all 3 counties up slightly this month compared to last year, up 2%. 630 is the median sales price. And month supply of inventory, once again here too, ticking down ever so slightly to 5.2 months. All right, we're going to wrap this up with Florida single-family homes for the month of August. I'm going to skip the condos on this one just because of time purposes here. But median sales price, Florida as a whole, was actually down about 0.5% compared to last year. So that just goes to show you geographically, South Florida is doing well, or prices are doing a little bit better than the state as a whole, since we were in positive territory compared to August of last year. And month supply of inventory, same with Florida though. Florida as a whole, this has come down slightly as well compared to last month. So we're seeing that inventory slightly come down. So look, I skipped condos. Condos are pretty much the same. We have high supply of inventory, but that has leveled off, but there's still an excess supply of inventory in the condo market. But look, you're starting to see, once again, inventory levels are starting to come down now. They were rising. We hit a peak and now they're starting to come down a little. So look, buyers, once again, you have lower interest rates, the lowest we've seen all year, and you're starting to see inventory come down a little. So my advice would be get in now. This is a great opportunity. You got some relief on the interest rate. There's still a good amount of inventory out there, but if that inventory keeps coming down, then it flips and it turns into favor of the seller. Right now, I do still believe it's a buyer's market. We just don't know for how much longer. So great opportunity to buy, take advantage of those lower rates. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Make it a great day.